Ben Stiller has spent his career making us laugh, but now he's making us think. The comedian is using his star power to draw attention to the global refugee crisis, a problem he says the U.S. should be leading the world in solving. Here's my Nightline co-anchor, Juju Chang.
We can't act out of fear. I understand the fear, and I want our country to be secure, but I think compassion and security are not mutually exclusive.
Mr. Stiller, sir.
Ben Stiller, one of the most bankable names in Hollywood, now lending his name in the global fight for refugees.
This country has always opened its arms to immigrants, to refugees, those fleeing persecution and war. It's very important that we change the policy and we get back to doing what we have done.
A surprisingly serious cause for an A-list comedian who's built a career out of awkward hilarity. From that cringe-worthy zipper scene in There's Something About Mary to his send-up of celebrity as the self-absorbed male model in Zoolander.
Did you ever think that maybe there's more to life than being really, really, really ridiculously good-looking?
What the real Ben is up to is a departure from those roles. This past December, traveling to the Azraq camp and meeting with Syrian refugees in Jordan.
So they didn't come with the bike when you got the bike?
He was there to support the United Nations Refugee Agency, UNHCR, where 35,000 Syrians have fled years of bloodshed and the horrors of ISIS.
Good, you have a beautiful family.
Including Mohammed Salah, a veterinarian, and his wife Ala, an agricultural engineer, and their 2 kids.
Their one son his eyes were damaged by bombing that happened, near their home. So they're trying to get medical care for him. Allah, what she said to me was, we just want a chance to move forward. We just want a chance to live our lives. And she was crying when she was saying it. She was so passionate about it.
What impressions were left with you?
When we were there, they still didn't have electricity, and they were just getting their solar grid panel up and running. There are no toilets, there's no running water. They showed me their bathroom, which is like, it's like a plastic cup with 4 toothbrushes in it.
The other idea is, okay, well, fine, these people may be safe, but what if terrorists sneak across the lines with them? Are we just letting in terrorists?
Well, we haven't done that yet, and there's an extreme vetting process that goes on. Every refugee who comes into America has gone through multiple vettings by the FBI, Homeland Security, after they've gone through the UN process.
It's big stuff.
But on January 27th, President Trump's executive order suspending refugee entries for 120 days, blocking Syrian refugees indefinitely, and barring citizens from 7 Muslim countries. Protests immediately erupted at airports across the country. Then on Friday, a federal judge in Seattle blocked President Trump's order temporarily.
The state has met its burden of demonstrating that it faces immediate and irreparable injury,
opening the doors once again to families caught in the middle of a legal showdown between the White House and the courts. Emotional reunions over the weekend in the U.S. Over the weekend, the Trump administration's lawyers appeal. As the president tweets, the opinion of this so-called judge, which essentially takes law enforcement away from our country, is ridiculous and will be overturned. Hours later, tweeting again. Because the ban was lifted by a judge, many very bad and dangerous people may be pouring into our country. A terrible decision.
I think it's okay to say, I disagree with this judge. I even think it's okay to say, I think this is a horrible decision. But to say a so-called judge suggesting that the judge is illegitimate, that's where you get into scary territory, where it sounds like the president is saying that the courts are either illegitimate or shouldn't matter.
The executive branch undermining the judiciary.
Absolutely.
Early Sunday, the president's appeal rejected, and some think the case could go all the way to the Supreme Court.
If the administration had come forward with a more detailed, well-thought-out order, I think they might be in better shape right now, because the president does have enormous autonomy when it comes to immigration.
I feel like this is a human issue. It's not a political issue.
Stiller is not the only star sounding the alarm about the refugee crisis.
3 bags.
1 bag.
Rucksack.
In this UNHCR video, actors including Cate Blanchett speak out on behalf of refugees.
The most painful thing about being a refugee is that you wake up one day to find you've lost all of your liberty and can no longer decide on your life. It's like everything is closed in your face.
What do you think of Donald Trump's attacks on many people in the Hollywood community, including Meryl Streep and others who dare to speak out? You know, I mean, his view is, you guys are celebrities. You need to, you know, you're not experts. You need to keep quiet on this.
I know it's kind of ironic. I don't want to criticize the president. He's the president. I think it's ironic because obviously he himself is a celebrity. But to me, it's a greater issue. Now that he's the president and the leader of the free world, I think America has to set the example, and we always have, with refugees.
Today, in a joint declaration to the Federal Appeals Court against the president's order, several former national security officials say since September 11, 2001, not a single terrorist attack in the United States has been perpetrated by aliens from the countries named in the order.
If you really look at the record of terrorist violence in America in the last 15 years, none of it relates to refugees. And I think this idea that refugees coming into our country equals, as the president has said in a tweet, death and destruction is just wrong.
And after the judge lifted the travel ban, Stiller wanted to talk to us again.
I think, you know, people are having their voice heard, from, you know, the man in the street all the way up to the highest levels of government who really disagree with the ban. So you're seeing democracy in action.
And Stiller says now that he's found his political voice, he plans to keep speaking out for those who can't.
And it's hard to leave those people in that place because it's a real thing, you know? They're still stuck there.
I think it's really unfortunate that it's become politicized because it is a humanitarian issue. I mean, that's the bottom line. These are people's lives, and our country has always been a place that's accepted people who are fleeing from persecution and war. And that's who we are as a country.
For Nightline, I'm Juju Chang in New York.
The legal saga continues tomorrow. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals will hear arguments for and against the president's travel ban.